Hello, Jennifer. Yeah. Why you here?
Oh, I am very excited to be here. I'm here representing the PMI Board of Directors. I'm a member of the Board of Directors. I live in San Francisco, California, work in technology, and I am here for a couple of reasons. One, it is the Moscow chapter's 20th anniversary, and that is very exciting, and I wanted to be a part of that. And I also wanted to share some of the current learnings that we have, some of the research that we've been doing on the state of the profession right now. We have a report that's coming out on the 18th, and I wanted to give everyone an idea of some of the information that we've been able to uncover and share that with everyone.
Okay, and you told us about project management tools, and everybody knows about it's not except without KM tools, knowledge management tools.
Right.
We should think about idea to product.
Yes.
Right. What can you tell us about role of knowledge management in PMI?
Knowledge management is critical because we cannot make the decisions that we need to make without being able to access the information that's going to enable us to make those decisions. So whether it's organizing information, retrieving information, however we need to make the decisions that we need to make, knowledge management is crucial. And as we work towards a world where we have more support systems, where we can use artificial intelligence, where we can use machine learning, where it doesn't have to be just one person looking at the data and trying to make conclusions, but we're able to use data sets to kind of build conclusions that we can act on. That makes it even more powerful.
Can you tell me about some case studies where exclusion knowledge management and circumstances in companies without knowledge management tools make way to crash and so on?
Yeah, well, I have a lot of personal experience with that myself. I mean, so many times when I would work on projects, I worked for many years, worked at Vodafone, and we would get to the end of a deployment. We would be doing work anywhere around the world, and we would have a discussion, and we would come to our lessons learned, and we'd figure out we never want to do this again, we always want to do this in the future. We come up with a path, but then we had no way to store that information. And I, as a project manager, would know, okay, my next deployment, I don't want to make those same mistakes again. But since we didn't have a system for sharing that information through the organization, other people continue to make those mistakes because they hadn't had that experience yet. So that's what makes having a robust knowledge management system just absolutely critical, because otherwise, you know, we as an organization don't learn from our mistakes. We as an organization don't make better decisions and develop our best practices.
Okay. What's your personal favorite knowledge management tools in your personal practice and your personal life?
That's a good question. I have to say I just use whatever is best for the job. I mean, at the moment I use everything. I'm doing some work for local government, so I'm doing a lot of work with Microsoft tools. I use OneNote, I use SharePoint, I use so many different things just in order to collect information. In some cases we end up still using old tools like FileMaker Pro or Access databases, whatever it takes in order to be able to pull out the information that we need. it's not always the best to have so many different tools, because then you have to check so many different places to find the information that you're looking for. But you need to work with what is easy to use and easy to access for later on.
So, and you have a personal mind map?
Oh yeah, I've used a lot of different mind mapping tools. I wish that I could say that I have a favorite. I think that they're very good for getting all the ideas out. I mean, like for example, you start a very complex project, to be able to map out all the risks or all the dependencies and all the issues, and you can build on that so much for so many additional conversations, and to really understand how the different parts are going to work together. But I'm afraid I don't have a particular mind map tool. I tend to grab whatever's nearby.
Okay, so is it correct sentence that ontology and good product, it's one part in one business process, and towards the way to good product? Is it correct sentence?
Well, talk to me about it a little bit more. Tell me what you're thinking.
I'm talking about when we start a big project, we should think about future product, and we should think about little parts, yes,
components.
Usable components of this product, and create taxonomy or ontology. Some companies don't think about it, and we have plan, and we go to the result, and we have what we have. What you don't about it?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that one thing that a mistake that we all make when we're younger, and some of us continue to make, is kind of what we call reinventing the wheel every single time. Like every project is a special snowflake. When the reality is we can use taxonomies, we can use structures, we can use frameworks in order to figure out, okay, well, what are all the possible permutations that I need to think about? So whether I'm doing, I have a risk taxonomy that I always love to use, because you can't always think, you can spend 20 minutes thinking of all the risks that there are, but unless you use an actual framework, something that helps you have a comprehensive view and look at everything from all these different perspectives, you're going to end up missing a lot. So yeah, I think that your overall statement is right as well, that we want to make sure that we start with the end in mind, and so we don't necessarily create everything as a one-off, but to think about, what are the things that we learned in the past that we can incorporate, and what are the things that we're going to need in the future, and how can we make this reusable
Okay, two last questions. Which advice you can get to Russian CEO of business for established knowledge management system? And if I CEO, why I should establish knowledge management system? Your advice for me?
Right. I think that at the end, so much of it comes down to strategy. We have to know what the organization is trying to achieve, and when you start with the end in mind, then it becomes the way to sell knowledge management becomes very obvious, because it's a matter of, oh, you want to be the best in the world at this? Well, it's going to take these different steps. Why don't we collect the information to make sure that happens? So always connecting it to, what we call what's in it for me. What is it that he cares about? What is it that his priorities are? What is it that the organization is trying to achieve? And start from that end, and then work backwards from there.
Okay. Last question of our program. Explain, I'm 5 years old child, and please explain me what is knowledge management. I'm 5 years old.
Wow, you don't look 5. Knowledge management, this is a good one. Knowledge management is like that book of fairy tales that I read from every single night. There's a whole bunch of different stories. There's so many different things to learn. There's so many fun adventures to have. And this is a way of collecting all of that information together. And when you decide, I want to find that story about the fairy princess, we know we can find that story about the fairy princess. We can find anything that we want because it's all together in that one book.
Thank you a lot, Jennifer. Nice to meet you, and welcome to our country and this conference.
I'm very happy to be here. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.